Have you ever wanted to look into retro games but aren't sure where to begin? Do you ever wonder which classic games stand the test of time and which ones don't hold up? These are some questions that have been bothering me for a while now, and I think it's about time to do something about it. So I'm going through gaming's history one game at a time to find the best games of all time. Welcome to the Gaming Archaeologist. The first Advance Wars was a fantastic strategy game. Basically perfect gameplay, charming visuals, memorable characters, awesome music, and a ton of content to play around with. It was great. So I was looking forward to Advance Wars 2. While Advance Wars was really good, it did have a few flaws, and so I was hoping that Advance Wars 2 would fix the handful of issues that the first game had, and take it to the next level. Instead, we get what feels more like an expansion pack than a sequel. It has the same basic gameplay and structure as the first, but now that the novelty is gone, the issues stick out more than ever, as almost none of the problems from the first game were fixed. There are still arbitrary restrictions on some units about which types of units they can attack. As I said in my review of the first game, placing these restrictions on the indirect units makes sense, but for all the other units they should just be allowed to attack whatever they want, and just have a massive damage penalty when they go up against units they aren't as good against, rather than not allowing the option of attack at all, as not allowing the option of attack undermines the strategy somewhat. There's still Fog of War, which is still annoying, though thankfully it's not as prevalent, and they bring back the mode that lets you design your own maps, but it's almost exactly the same, including the 3-map limit, so there's really no reason to go with it over the originals mode, aside from a handful of new options. The only issue from the first game that was fixed is the main campaign, which overall is better paced and more engaging than the one in the first game. But it's annoying that the game seems to have overlooked the things that were wrong with its predecessor, and instead focuses on fixing things that didn't need to be fixed. For instance, all of the characters have been redesigned for no reason. I mean, good God, what did they do to you, Max? Why? You're already reusing a lot of content from the last game, why not let them just look the same? Oh, and remember the colorful and funny expressions on the CEO's faces, and how they would become nervous or smug depending on how things were going in battle? That's gone, which takes away a fair bit of charm from the moment-to-moment aspects of the game. And the game adds in a bunch of new CEOs and several types of new units in an attempt to keep things fresh. But all they really do is muddy the water by taking something that was almost perfectly polished and making it unnecessarily more complicated and more gimmicky. But, to be fair, I did have fun with the game. The core of what made Advance Wars fun is still here, the campaign is pretty neat, and some of the new maps are pretty cool. But on the whole, I was rather disappointed. Like I said, this feels more like an expansion pack rather than a real sequel. So if you liked Advance Wars and just want more of it, this game will suit your needs just fine. But if you're looking for something new, better, or just different, then I'd say you can skip this one. My final score is a 6 out of 10. I thought about being generous and giving it a 7, but most of the things that were good about the game are just things that were directly copied from the first game, so it shouldn't get more credit than it deserves. But I do want to make it clear, it's not a horrible game or even a bad game. It's just okay. Nothing bad, but nothing great either. So what do you think? Have you played Advance Wars 2? What did you think? Whatever your thoughts, be sure to let me know in the comments below. If you like what I do, feel free to subscribe and follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.